As the bird flies, 2.5 million solar modules swimming in more than 2,500 acres of land, with 8,500 pairs of hands at work during the peak of the project.
No challenge is too big for us, no goal too far.
Putting up an ambitious display of the finest in solar technology.
Our robotic system does not use any sort of water or electricity,
while racing towards a tight deadline.
Managing the engineering, procurement, project management, and site construction in such a short span was a huge challenge.
Even when Mother Nature decides to throw in a few surprises,
we went to hell and back.
the team would try not to let anything eclipse their progress.
We are planning for taking precautions during partial solar eclipse.
As they braved breakdowns and
Fan
delays,
set करो, one fan was off.
30 kV का लाइन अनस्टेबल हो गया है तो टोटल ग्रिड अनस्टेबल होने के लिए चांसेस ज़्यादा है.
aiming to make one of the world's largest solar power plants in a single location in an unassuming part of southern India.
India is one of the fastest growing economies, and energy is a crucial part for economic development. Huge demand for energy has led to vast utilization of natural resources. To meet this surging demand, solar energy is the best form of energy.
So as a solar power producer, our land requirement is huge, and you know land is a difficult task in a country like India, which is highly populous.
That's some 90 kilometers away from Madurai, in a little-known town called Kamuthi, arises a mega-structure that has the potential to be monumental in its own way.
For such a mega-sized solar power plant, we require a huge patch of land, also the good solar radiations and the proximity with port for logistics purpose. And all this we found at Kamuthi in Tamil Nadu, and this was the beginning of how we started this project.
The Adani Group claims its plant will generate a maximum of 648 megawatts of power, making it one of the world's largest single-location solar power plants.
India has a tremendous scope of generating solar energy, and it is high time we concentrate more on conservation of resources.
When the engineers from Adani reached the site at Kamuthi in July 2015, they realized the gigantic task at hand. The total land allocated for this project was 2,500 acres. That's like packing in nearly 60 Taj Mahals on a patch of land. Over time, the company had acquired the land needed for the project. Now what had to follow was some intense planning and rapid-fire execution to meet the deadline.
The size of 648 megawatt in next 8 months period is unimaginable for anybody.
For the team, that meant slipping into overdrive from the get-go.
We are planning to have all the infrastructure facility in place in the month of August, this month only. So we are planning to build a huge site office, and we are planning to have the illumination facility so that we can work round the clock.
One of the initial challenges in a remote, agrarian, non-industrial town like Kamuthi was sourcing manpower and equipment.
Nothing is available, and anything, the nearest town is Madurai, which is 90 kilometers away. Even to get a couple of vehicles, you need to hire from Madurai. So getting plant and machinery from nearby is ruled out.
The first load of containers was arriving by late August from China. These containers with solar modules and module mounting structures would need a home immediately, a very large home. 140,000 square meters of space. Imagine nearly 6 Sydney opera houses stacked together. The panels alone will occupy an area of 1,270 acres, enough to take in 476 football fields. These module mounting structures, or MMS, have been grouped into tables with a specific capacity. One table can generate almost 50 kilowatts peak electricity. The amount of metal being used to make these piles, tables, and towers is mind-boggling. Around 30,000 metric tons of galvanized steel. You could construct more than 4 Eiffel Towers with that much steel.
Before us, The largest solar power plant at a single location was in California in the US. That project was completed in around 3 years. We were looking for setting up 648 megawatt, and that also in less than a year.
If it was possible, things took a turn for the worse in December 2015 when work came to a grinding halt.
Our whole site is filled with water. The Tuticorin port was completely stopped. The logistic chain was not working, and we were absolutely the standstill for these 3 months.
Just for this project alone, the port will receive more than 6,000 containers from all over the world, including countries like China, Japan, Malaysia, Taiwan, Israel, Italy, Germany, Turkey, and Switzerland. Less than 4 months were left. Damage control was the need of the hour. The corporate office in Ahmedabad was weighing in on their ideas too.
Let us accept this as a challenge and we go ahead.
Plan it accordingly by next fortnight and by next month.
An emergency meeting with all departments at the site office is underway to assess the damage and plot the way forward.
So the villagers are safe, but the only thing is that we need to rescue ourselves.
400 of my containers are waiting in the port and there is no storage.
The group has to take some drastic steps. With rain pelting down, logistics were proving to be the biggest challenge of them all.
ज़्यादा बारिश होने के कारण हमें काफ़ी दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ा। इसमें हमको रोज़ का 100 कंटेनर अनलोडिंग करने का टारगेट था। तो हमने क्या किया, एरिया ज़्यादा कर दिया। हमने 4 सेगमेंट में अनलोडिंग एक साथ में चालू किया।
हम लोगों ने सबसे पहले इस पोर्ट के एंड पे जो है 24 घंटे वर्किंग स्टार्ट किया, जो पहले हम 12 घंटे में काम करते थे। इसी तरह से हमने रिसीविंग एंड पे भी अपनी शिफ्टों को जो चेंज करके 3 शिफ्टों में लोगों को हमने काम करने के लिए कहा।
From 2,500 workers on site, they had to pull in more than 3 times the number, nearly 8,500, and 24 hours in a day would not be enough.
Our asking rate close to 10 megawatt. So 10 megawatt means 40,000 modules we have to place in one day. It's a Herculean task. We are pushing all the material in the night so that by the time when majority of the worker comes in the day, they will be available with the resources.
And if not cloudy or rainy day, electricity generation can take a hit if modules are dusty. Luckily, solar power plants are relatively easy to maintain. An average photovoltaic cell may last 25 years or more if you regularly clean the module. In Kamuthi, what would otherwise have been a manual and water-intensive job has now been mechanized with state-of-the-art robotic technology from Israel.
The robot is being powered by a solar panel that charges during the day the unit's own batteries, and the robot will go for a clean every evening.
Waterless cleaning technology is a game changer for semi-arid dry regions like Kamuthi, where it is a scarce resource. This robotic solar panel cleaning system uses soft microfiber on wheel that push dust off the modules. The robotic system can be remotely monitored, managed, and controlled. With 20-odd days to go, the team still has to install 180 megawatts of solar modules. Can they do it? Or did they bite off more than they can chew? The sun played peekaboo briefly, but the engineers read the game well and set a plan in place for future eclipses. Back at the site, with 15 days to go before commissioning, there was a stock-taking visit by the CEO of Adani Power, Vineet Jain. There was a lot riding on the plant, and he had to motivate, supervise, and ensure completion if the company had to honor its contract with the state of Tamil Nadu. Roughly 120 megawatts of solar modules still had to get erected. Supervisors of every department were pushing their teams to keep up the pace. You could sense nervous energy on site at Kamuthi. The last clusters of panels are being erected, connections made, system checks completed. It's the morning of March 31st, and the team at Kamuthi are still putting modules on structures, while engineers rush about checking these modules and making sure they are working. 360 megawatts is already being evacuated to the grid, and the remaining would flow out as soon as the state grid gets ready to receive it.
It's a proud moment of my life. Together, we achieved the unachievable.
648 megawatt solar power plant is a big pride for all of us, is a big pride for Adani Group, is a big pride for Tamil Nadu, and is a big pride for this country.
For the entire Adani Group, March 31st, 2016 turned out to be a real good day at the office.
Everybody, and the celebration begins now.
This solar power plant will light up the lives of millions of people. A true mega structure.
And a baby step towards the company's next target, setting up a solar park in Rajasthan to generate 10,000 megawatts of solar power by 2022.